And welcome. These are horse racing selections for Tuesday, the 11th of March, Cheltenham Festival, day one. I am flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. The wait is here. I don't, I don't mean me. I mean, Cheltenham Festival is upon us. Some of you might be waiting for me, but more probably for the Cheltenham Festival. So here we are. We've arrived. So this is the day one video. I'll give you a bit of a spiel about how it's going to work this year, when you like to see me, what time you're likely to see, noting that a lot of you watching this are regulars or long-time followers. Some of you will just, maybe just followed me at Cheltenham before. There'll also be a whole bunch of people who've never seen me on YouTube before and think, who's this random guy with no graphics, no music, no intro music. I'm going to show you a flip chart. Well, not flip chart. It's like a pad with Sharpies and stuff written on it. Yeah, no sort of like digital graphics in the corner. None of that jazz. And that's all out of choice. Well, I say choice. I mean, I'm not necessarily technically IT gifted, you know what I mean? But, my light's gone a bit funny there. Maybe that's the end of the road for me for Cheltenham already. I choose not to do that. I choose for this channel to be rustic. This is what I've been doing 3 years YouTube. This will be the fourth Cheltenham, so 3 and a bit years, fourth year of Cheltenham. First year was great. We had a really good Cheltenham. 2 years ago, just fell a little bit short. I think if you'd done singles, it would have been just about even, and multiples, it was just behind, so it wasn't brilliant. And then last year, I had a bad Cheltenham. Lots of people had a good Cheltenham last year. If you're a shorties backer, you'd have had a good one. 5 horses at double figure price that won out of 27 races, because there was the cross country that didn't happen. That is statistically about half of what you would usually expect if you look at the previous sort of, say, 5-6 years of Cheltenham. On average, 10 horses going at double figure price. So one of the things we need to work out this year is, was last year an anomaly? Are we back into sort of 9, 10, 11 double figure price winners? Or is that the start of a new trend last year? The difference we've got this year is we've got 3 races that have been converted to handicaps that weren't previously, which will allow for bigger fields and more likely for bigger prices and less shorties. That's the hope. Then the trick is, when there is big prices, have I got the right ones and am I on them? So that's the challenge. That's what we're trying to do. So over the course of the next 4 days, I should be doing a video each night. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night for the following day festival. I'm not planning to pair up any days or do bets across the week and that kind of stuff. I'm just going to stick to each day. If you're used to what I do, then you know I do high prices as far as most people are concerned. And when I say high prices, big prices, lots of people out there give it all this about big prices and then put up an 8-to-1 shot or something like that. That's not what I'm about. Double figures, generally speaking, double figure price. 12-to-1 is not a big price. A big price to me is like 33s, 40s, 50s. It's Cheltenham. I mean, it's unlikely we're going to find something at hundreds, but you never know. And not just for the sake of it. They are basically what my angle in terms of what I do outside of YouTube, but also what I'm trying to bring onto YouTube is that actually you don't necessarily win by backing short price favourites. Where you can make a bit of an edge is, I mean, some folk do, and some people tell you they do, but they don't. But you know what I mean. But actually playing the value end of the market, so i.e. where a horse is overpriced statistically for its chances of performing well. And there's a variety of reasons for that. Cheltenham, you have to look at it a little bit differently to how I do a lot of my usual stuff, because the markets are usually quite well formed, even from an anti-post stage. So horses, particularly the last few weeks anti-post, have been a lot artificially shorter than they should be. Even the night before, when I put this video out, the prices in places, particularly the handicaps, are really artificially short. So the bookies protect themselves from any sort of late market moves, late money. So what that means is, for what I'm doing on here, which is unusual to what I usually do, is all prices for Cheltenham I'll be taking for my stats SP. So the prices I put up on any bets I'm doing are illustrative. The prices I will take for stats are SP. Okay, there's no best price guaranteed. Usually what I would do on here is I'm taking the night before price, because I know statistically the majority of my horses shorten up by the time of the race, which is opposite to what happens. So statistically speaking, most horses, the price gets bigger the night before converting to the race, before the race, if that makes sense. But that's not what we're doing here. So for Cheltenham, all starting prices only. So if you get a bigger price or a short price, whatever it might be, the price that I'm taking is the starting price. Place terms for some of my stats, I will record what at least 3 of the major bookies are paying. So I'll explain that to you. So if you're new to me, I'll give you the best bookmaker advice, or the bookmaker to put your bet on with. So yeah, usually I'm doing high price multiple bets. So as multiples, i.e. trebles, accumulators, Yankees, that kind of stuff. Historically for Cheltenham, I've done it a little bit differently, and I've put a range of singles and multiples. And usually for Cheltenham, I've kind of done it as like a £40 or £50 set standard stake each day that goes down the channel name. This year for Cheltenham, I say I'm going to go with the flow. That sounds a bit too casual. What I mean by that is each day is going to be different, and I'll take it each day as it comes. So I'm not going to set myself the same money on each day, because as far as I would read the week, if I just look at race structure, potential for value, then to me there's a clear ranking in terms of how I would read the days from a value perspective, and therefore I'm likely to put more money down on the days I think are better. So for the purposes of this Cheltenham 2025, Thursday is the day where lots of other folk will be running for the hills because there'll be a lack of shorties. That's the day where I will be playing more. There are more handicaps, more bigger field races, challenging for most, and that's why I like the challenge of it. So Thursday is the best day for value as far as I would read it. Wednesday is the second best day for value, and then it's a bit tight for different reasons between Tuesday and Friday. Technically speaking, on paper, Friday is actually the least good day. I say that because we've got a few races in there I'm really not so keen usually to play much in, like the Fox Hunters, the Mare's Chase, the Triumph Hurdle. But that being said, on Tuesday, it should be better than Friday. But the challenge we've got on Tuesday is we've got the situation in the Champion Hurdle and the Arkle that have got shorty favourites and less than 8 runners, which is not brilliantly ideal. And the handicaps are a bit dodge on Tuesday. So we've got the National Hunt Chase, which is 3 miles 6 furlongs. Most of those horses have never gone that far. You've got the Boodles Juvenile, where that's the biggest puzzle of the week in some regards, because the handicap marks and stuff's all over the chip shop. So Tuesday and Friday, the tougher days. So I'm not saying I'm going to win better on Thursday and then Wednesday and then Tuesday, Friday. I'm just letting you know that I'm likely to do more stake on Thursday than I would on Wednesday, and more on Wednesday than I would Tuesday or Friday. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Everything I do on here is free, apart from my premium members. I don't have a premium service. I'm not into that, so it's all free. So if we have a good week and you want to send me a thanks in the comment and say well done, then you fill your boots, but you don't have to. That's likewise, if I have a bad week and you want to tell me how crap I am, you can do that too. It's a free country, guys. I only censor stuff on here when it gets a bit too personal, particularly against other followers of the channel. Likewise, if you want to put your own selections, your own thoughts in the comments, you can feel free to do so. Just be aware that that's what people choose to do, and that's what they like to do. And if they don't win, then they don't win. All right. Okay. And then the only thing I was going to say is about, I think particularly with this is a tiny mini rant. I'll get some horses in a minute because that's what most people are coming for. But I think even more so this year when I start looking at over-round figures, and I don't like to get into complicated stuff, particularly because there's going to be more casual viewers on here. But the gist of what I'm saying is, in the championship races, the bookies are taking a less percentage than in any of the handicaps. So people think the handicaps are the hard bit. They're also the hard bit because the bookies are taking a high percentage. If you bet blindly and backed all of the horses in all of the handicaps for Tuesday, this as in Monday night when I'm making this video, statistically speaking, you would get a greater return on a fruit machine than you would do backing all of them, because the over round figure, the percentage that they are taking a cut from on the each way, well, on the whole market, to be fair, on the handicaps is so great. So I think 137% in on a couple of the handicaps and 132%. Compare that to 110% for a championship race. I appreciate most people don't get all of that, but what I'm saying is the bookies are taking 25% extra money right now off the handicaps. That they are the ones that they fear the most in some regards, because if you can string those together, then some people are walking away with some big cash, particularly because of the place terms. So they want to offer you better place terms, so 6 places on a couple of these races for Tuesday, but what they do is they then make the odds artificially shorter, and they take a greater percentage because they're offering you 6 places. So just because 6 places looks great, because you technically should only get 4 places on a handicap, actually the bookmakers take a much bigger percentage by reducing the odds. Okay, right, I'm going to stop waffling on. Right, Tuesday, that's what you're here for. So the approach for Tuesday is a £24 stake. That is what I'm putting down in the channel name, and there are 3 bets. One bet that will be what I'll do every single day is a bit of a dreamy sixfold. I say dreamy because the prices will vary from day to day. Tuesday is a bit of a hard day for it, but I will do a sixfold each day. Is it in keeping what I do to the channel? Yes, in terms of it's a bit of a dreamy bet. Statistically, is it a great thing to do? You wouldn't want to bet a lot of money, and that's why of my £24, £1.50 is on that. The other £22.50 is on the other 2 bets and some singles. So small stake on the sixfold is what we're doing. Those who remember, I'm not one for harping on like, back in the day, but first year on the Cheltenham, if you were there then, which most weren't, you will may or may not recall that we had the first 4 legs. We had 5 after 5 legs. We had 4 winners and a non-runner, and we were rolling on to the last leg, and it was all looking very, very, very exciting. And then I think the last horse pulled up. So that's how it goes. All right. So we've got the sixfold, we got a Yankee, and I got a combo double. That's what we got. But this is the bet one, the one Yankee I'm putting out. So haven't got loads of selections because I've got this Yankee, a combo double, which I'll come to, and the sixfold. So what have we gone for? Small caveat, put that on there as well. Again, those who've been following more recently will know I do star system. I will flag to you, but as it stands, none of these would hit my star system. So it wasn't for Cheltenham, I wouldn't necessarily be putting a bet up like this for the channel. Not saying I wouldn't back it myself, but for my channel criteria, this wouldn't actually cut the mustard, and I wouldn't actually be putting up the bet. So if it was channel criteria and not Cheltenham, I wouldn't actually have a bet today as far as what the channel's concerned, because with Cheltenham racing it's particularly competitive. But here we go. So none of these are super strong. There's a great health warning. 120 in the Supreme. Yes, I am putting up Tripoli Flyer. Yes, it is one of the 2 British horses against the Mullins, half a field, and all the other Irish horses. And this is about why you got to play angle sometimes on why prices are artificially higher than they should be. Tripoli Flyer on form is in the mix to finish somewhere in the kind of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th range, right? So for me, it should finish on actual form of what it's shown. Bearing in mind, there's a bunch of Mullins horses that have like run one maiden and then you've not seen them since. But on actual form, what they've done and achieved, this is a top half finishing horse. Whether it's good enough on the day to come 2nd or 3rd, that's what we're saying. I'm saying 2nd or 3rd purely because, and again, you're not hearing me bang on about which of the 2 favourites is going to be. Kopek de Board, undisputably, I think, has the best single piece of form. But these are novice hurdlers, right? Can it repeat it? There's a question mark. Is it good value at about even money? It's got the best single piece of form by a little bit of a way. I'm not one for steaming into shorties, so you can make your mind up. What I'm saying is it looks like absolutely the right favourite, and I don't think there's much in between the ones in behind. And Tripoli Flyer, because it's British, because it bled from the nose last time, Fergal O'Brien, not so much of a fancy trainer. If it was a Henderson horse even, you'd probably put it down to 16s. If it was a Mullins horse, it'd probably be about 10s or 12s. It's Fergal O'Brien, it's Jonathan Burke. No disrespect for Jonathan Burke, he's not a household name jockey as far as like your casual punters would go. So all of those things add together to mean that Tripoli Fly's 25-1. But apart from when it got beaten in a maiden, it's then gone on to win every race in a progressive fashion, jumping a little bit wobbly, but it's progressing. And so yeah, because it's got things against it, because of what happened last time at the end of the race, and because of the fact it's a British horse, it's artificially higher. Realistically, like, you know, force me to say, I would say I think it's going to be fourth or fifth, but 25-1, I'm willing to put it in the bet to see if we can get second or third. Tripoli Flyer, 25-1. 240, the Ultima. This is for me the best betting race of the day. Not this easy. It's the best betting race. Most bookies are paying 6. I think, with the exception of maybe Coral and Ladbroke, so you're only getting 5. So most bookies are 6. So really make sure you check your place terms. You want to get 6 places on this race. Otherwise, if you're not, you're in one of the minority of bookmakers who are doing you over for the 6th place. So Channel's taking 6th place. I've got a nice little shortlist, about half a dozen on the shortlist. This race is in my combo doubles, and it's gone down to value because there's a couple of ones that are a third of the price that I think are you know, absolutely more progressive, and I've got slightly more chance of winning than Trelawn. And the thing against Trelawn is it's a top weight, so you know, top weights can frame in this race, but it's rare a top weight would go and win. People will tell you the stat for this race as well, that the Irish haven't won since whatever. There's 24 runners, only 5 or 6 Irish horses in it. They're not really like targeting the race, so you'd likely think it's a British winner. But with Trelawn, it's the class angle in the race, and because it's top weight, the last couple of times I think it's finished 4th, but it's running really competitive races. And for a 33-1 shot last year, this was 5-1 favourite. It's only £8 higher. It fell at the second fence last time. Cobden had a bit of an accident on it, but yeah, it's Tom Bellamy, I think, is on this time, who hardly got a ride last year, if any, I think. So good luck to him on this, because I think he's got a nice enough chance of getting into the frame. 33-1 does not do the horse justice at all. Classy horse. Last few times it's run consistently. If you actually look at the history of the horse, it's rarely run a bad race, and it's sort of progressed its through. It looks on the last 3 runs like it could have plateaued, but there's no reason really to suggest, and it has run at Cheltenham before, there's no reason to suggest they're not trying, and it's not going to run a race that potentially gives it a chance of getting near the frame. So 33-1, 6 places, I think it just came out ahead. So that's why it's in my Yankee. Then 320 in the mares, Carla Conti. I've been following this one. I had money down on it, anti-post at slightly bigger prices. I think 12s is fine. What you've got in the race now that Lossiemouth's in it is making it a more interesting race each way. So I appreciate there'll be a lot of people going, "Oh, Lossiemouth should be in the Champion Hurdle and it's not right." That's not my debate, right? So, you know, if you ask me, do I think the Mayor's Hurdle should be a Grade 1? No, I don't. I think it should be a Grade 2 race. I'm not the one who's changing it, am I? I'm not involved in that. All I'm looking at is the horses involved in the race. And I think Brighter Days Ahead, part of the move to put Brighter Days Ahead in the Champion Hurdle, if you watched my DRF video, I mentioned about I thought Brighter Days Ahead should be the Champion Hurdle horse. Then that opens up Elliot to have his Carla Conti's his number 1 pick in the mares. Lossiemouth clearly is best on ratings, but it's absolutely got a question mark against it because it fell last time. And then, you know, first time when it beat Tiupu, it looked impressive, but then we've had a few issues since. So there's some question marks on Lossiemouth. Not saying it's not going to win. Absolutely same boat as Copec de Board. Best piece of form in the race is Lossiemouth. But then you look after it, and yeah, I think Jay de Grugy looks potentially like the second best horse. And then I think it's not much between Carla Conti and July Flower. July Flower beat Carla Conti last time, but I actually like the fact that Carla Conti is only a 5-year-old. There's not many 5-year-olds running the Mayor's Hurdle. And actually, if you look through last year, I think bar one race where it came 5th or 6th, it's really, really progressive in profile. And sort of every time it runs, it's a little bit better than the time before. And the time when it was 5th or 6th, we didn't see it the rest of that year, and it came out and won a handicap off a very low mark first time this season. So yeah, is it going to be good enough to beat Lossiemouth? On paper, it shouldn't be. Is it good enough to get in the top 3? It should be pretty close run thing. That's how I make it. So that's in at 12s. And then the 440, we've gone with the Boodles, which I think is the biggest puzzle of the day. I mean, there's a couple more runners in that one, but tricky stuff. So with the Boodles, it's a juvenile hurdle, right? So they're all 4 years old. They've all run a few times. The handicapper then sticks a whole bunch of extra weight on them, and you got to work out. For most of them, they've been aimed at the race, so they've not been run into true form. So you could pick half a dozen. I'm not putting this in my doubles bet when I'll get to that. And what I've done is I've taken what I call the Melbourne Cup approach to this race. So there's a few things I've tried in the last few years with the Melbourne Cup, and take out the form read. I'm just using pure data, and I've gone through all of what the data and looked at what the handicap has done, and I think that the conversion between the leniency of the handicap mark, I mean, they've all been put up weight, versus the value in the price. Call One is the one that came out quite comfortably, the best option for me to put in. So small up and coming trainer, owned and then owned by the Ryans. Young Ryan is riding. He's an up and coming jockey, so up and coming trainer, up and coming jockey. The horse is on the improve. It only started running on the flat about a year ago. And then since it came into handicaps on the flat, it ran about 5 handicaps, and it progressed every single time, albeit not at a really high standard, but it was progressing every single time. And then since it's come onto the jumps, I would say it's progressed every time in terms of it was placed in a graded race last time. Now, is this a case of a horse that has literally been tried its best every single time, and therefore that's why the handicap has been a bit lenient? And I say that on official ratings, it's been given an extra £6. Most of the field is somewhere between £8 to £14, and that horse ran to a similar standard the last 2 times, whereas a lot of these horses ran to their best once, whereas this horse did duplicate it. So yeah, basically on the data, I'm not going to tell you, the ins and outs of each race it ran behind, because actually for this specific race, I've gone data led, and the data says to me Call One is the best at a value. And this race is certainly not unheard of for a small time Irish yard to get a horse in the top 5 or 6. It's very much Irish dominated. So yeah, that's what we've got. So the bet, 25p each way Yankee. So that's each way doubles, trebles, and a 4-fold. And we've got 50p each way singles on the 3 bigger prices. I've left a single on Carla Conti. And then bookie advice, Sky are best all day on Tuesday for most races, because the 3 place ones they're paying 4 in places, and the 5 they're paying 6. No, well, the 6 they're paying 7 or 8. Certainly 8 on Wednesday as well. So Sky are best for extra places. Then joint best Paddy 365, Betfair and Boyle Sports, because of the Boodles. They are all paying 6. They are the 4 other bookies, so those 5 pay 6 here. So for the channel, we've got 3, 6, 3 and 6. 8.50 is the bet. That's bet 1. All right. There was quite a bit of explanation there. Hopefully it made sense. If you don't like all the waffle, then go follow the newspaper tips test, guys. It's YouTube. It's designed to make videos, and I chunter on. I do know that. Okay, here's the Sixfold. I mean, this might look wacky to some folk. It's up to you. All I'm telling you is I'm putting this down for the channel. 75p each way Sixfold. So I'll talk you through the rationale quite quickly for this. 120 Supreme. Cobbeck de Board. It's got the best single piece of form. I think it's a right muddle between the others. So am I trying here to get 6 winners? That would be unbelievably amazing. What I'm really trying to do here, in first and foremost, that's kind of the bonus. In first and foremost, I'm trying to get 6 placed horses here. And so am I taking the best value in all of these? No, but I'm trying to give ourselves the best run for the money as I see it. So Cobbeck de Board, best single piece of form. Unless something goes wrong with the horse completely, it should not be out the first 3. I couldn't really have a clear decision. I've put Tripoli Flyer in the Yankee, but there's about, as I said, there's about 4 or 5 that really should be fighting it out then for the next places. So I was going to go safety first on the first, and I'm going safety first on the second. So 2 o'clock, Arkle, very similar to Copec de Board. Mashborough's got the best piece of form. So that's in, because Lotus, I think the bookies have got the market really well nailed on that Arkle. Lotus, second best form over the distance. Django Bai has got the best form, but not at the distance. So could you split them? You've got an up-and-coming Irish horse, and then you've got the sort of the token Elliott horse that sort of run its race. I think it's likely the second horse is going to be Lotus or Django Bay. I think the market's right, but I didn't want to call it. I didn't want to risk it, so I've left it as the 2 favourites in the first. And then in the ultimate, we've gone for Richmond Lake at 40-1. So if the first 2 get in, then we're really in for it if we've got Richmond Lake. So Richmond Lake 40-1. Slightly my second choice in that one. It runs really, really consistently. It's a Hemmings racing horse, and is a stat that most people won't tell you, because I'd rather give you the stats no one tells you than repeat the stats that everyone else copies each other. So the Hemmings horses have a nice enough race in the track record in the Ultima. The last 10 horses by this ownership to run in this race, 5 have framed. One of those was a winner. So you've got a 50% strike rate from the last 10 runners of framing. There's 2 in here, Famous Bridge and Richmond Lake. I think Richmond Lake's price is great because it's not a horse that's an obvious winner, but it's consistently run well the last 4 times, and it's on the same handicap mark, and it's running really competitive races. So if it gives its running, and the ground is not too good because it prefers it on the softer side, I would say, then Richmond Lake's in there to try and see if we can spin up. So if we get the first 3 legs up, we're then onto the mares. J. de Grugy is what I say is clear second best on bare form. So I've stuck that in a paying first 3 race. Then the Champion Hurdle, as most people think, I think it's between Constitution Hill and Brighter Days Ahead. I thought Brighter Days Ahead was a really good bet a couple of months ago at 4-1. Now 2-1. It's got the best form this year versus Constitution Hill, which is on paper is a better horse, full stop. So whether or not Constitution Hill is back to where it was or not, they should be in the first 2 places, and I would rather have in this bet Brighter Days Ahead at 2s than Constitution Hill at slightly odds on. And then we're going to finish with the Boodles, and I'm going for Liam Swagger. So outside of when I went for Call 1, when I went through the ratings, Stencil's the favourite, and I think actually it's the best treated on bare form. But Liam Swagger isn't far behind, and it's run to the same standard twice. So it looked to me like the most solid option to try and swing a framer in there in a race where, for the purpose of this bet, with those 5 bookies, we can get first 6. So that's where I've gone with it. It's a very, very tricky race, but Liam Swagger's in there for the James Owen Yard. So that's 75p each way, Sixfold. We only get a return if they all finish in the places. So we need top 3, top 2, top 6, top 3, top 2, top 6. That's what we're looking at. All right. And then the biggest stake is on this combo double. And we haven't even mentioned the 520. So 240, the ultimate. We've got Richmond Lake and Trelawn, as talked about. Maya Town has been my long range horse for this one, and it's scraped in at the bottom of the weights. Patrick Wadge is on because Derek Fox has gone for the other Lucinda Russell horse, but yeah, it's been on my radar firmly. It's unexposed, progressive. How it's going to get on in a much bigger field is a question mark, and the fact that Derek Fox didn't choose it was not ideal for me. Not that Patrick Wadge is a bad jockey, but just Derek Fox would have had the choice and he's gone the other way. So we've put that in, and the short go is the De Bromhead horse, which I think has absolutely been laid out for this race. It's ran well, course and distance back in the autumn, and I think they've saved it really. I mean, it was a bit of a it ran a race at Navan, I think, and then I can't remember if it pulled up or fell or something. It wasn't quite right. I think it might have fallen, but you can check me on that one. And then it's not been seen since December. I think they've laid it out for this race, and from a handicap mark point of view, I think it could be good. But yeah, there's obviously a little bit of a question mark. They've had a lot of time out with it, and I think the price is fair enough more than anything else. And then the last one I'm sticking in there, we're going 5 horses. Guard Your Dreams, looked like a 2.5 mile Cheltenham good ground specialist, and now is starting to show signs that actually going up in distance might not be too bad for it. So Cheltenham course form really solid. Good ground is better for it. So the forecast is good to soft, should be good. Whether it's good enough in this race or not, I don't know. But from a handicap point of view, it's handicapped really, really well. So if this was a 2.5 mile race, they could have put this in the plate later in the week, the 2.5 mile handicap chase, and they haven't. They've stuck it in here, and I want to believe that they're doing that because actually they think it's got a better chance of progressing at this kind of distance than it has running in the plate. So I think it's an interesting wild card pick. And then the 520, not mentioned 520, we've got 4. And different kind of angles playing here. Jericho Roquet, I'm sure it's the pipe horse. I can't understand how this is even running in this race, to be honest. But it's sort of just had obviously terrible injury challenges, but keeps coming back and keeps seeming to run its race. And last time it was the first time it ran in ages at Windsor, and it really ran with credit considering the amount of time it had off. So if that has come on for that run, it's handicapped to absolutely go very, very close in this race. And that's a horse where actually got a bit of form in terms of over running sort of bigger distances as well. So happy to include that. I've ummed and ahed, and I've put in Heracles Westwood, and it ran when I did the Channel meetup. It ran at Newbury and ran a crappy race, but I think when you actually look at it, and this is an interesting angle for a lot of these races at Cheltenham this year, when you've got these horses that are more kind of novice-y types. It had to run in that race in order to qualify. You have to run a certain amount of times. That's always been the case, but this year they've upped it. And I think, why would you want to run it in that race and make it win when that would have put it higher up in the weights, when actually it ran a third of 6, didn't really do much. Cobden can say it was a bad ride and this sort of stuff. But the point is, the horse hasn't moved up its handicap mark from the time before. And had that been the case, it would have been much shorter in price. So we're taking a chance on that one that they basically just wanted to get another run into it, and this is the one they're trying for. Stuzzakini, the Elliott horse, he's got 3 in the race. I like the profile of it. It ran and won the Troy Town on better ground, and it looks like it will come on for the distance. That was over about 3 miles. I think it will improve, and I think it's the better of the Elliott horses. I know we'll do short with the prices, but I like Stuzzakini better, and I think the price is particularly good. And then Rock My Way is a horse that is a bit in and out of form, but on its day, on the current handicap mark, can be absolutely competitive in this race. So 20 times 25p each way doubles. So there's basically 5 horses there, 4 there. If you put them in all combinations, so if you put them in a bet slip, you can ride it like that. If you're doing it online, you shove them all in and it will give you doubles, and it will say there's 20 options, or 40 if you include in each way. So it's 25p each way. That comes out to £10. And then we've got singles on Richmond Lake, Guard Your Dreams, and then Stuzzakini and Rock My Way. The 4 bigger prices. We've already got a single on Trelawney in the Yankee, and we've left off the singles in the others. So 4 times 50p each way singles. Sky are better because you can get 7 there and 6. No, it's 5 there. 7 and 5. We're taking 6 and 5. £14. All right. Well, blinking excellent. That's 3 bets. That was a bit chuntering. So let me know what you think. Let me know if that was too much chunter or not enough chunter. Whatever your preference is. I'll never get it right for everybody. But that's where we're at. So easing ourselves in, £24. As I said, if it wasn't Cheltenham, I wouldn't put the bets up. What I mean is, that's a really important difference here. I try and put the best stuff I've got in a movable market up on here, and because of the competitive nature of the races, it might be the case there are certain days where actually I go, do you know what, that is a horse I would put up, and I might put a little bit more on the single. But as far as Tuesday goes, nothing would hit the criteria because the handicaps are really competitive and the championship races are priced up relatively in the right sort of place. And I think Tripoli Flyer is the slight outlier, as I've talked about. And Carla Conti is not really an outlier. It's about priced about right, but because we've got Lossiemouth in there, you've got a bit of value in the each way market. So that's it. Good luck. At the end of the week, we'll see where we're at. And then the plan is that post this week. I will be coming back to some semblance of regular videos. I'll update kind of nearer the end of the week what that might look like. But yeah, because I've been off about 3 weeks and I've sort of been just doing the odd vids January, February, whilst the ground is a bit more changeable. But I am sort of going to ramp up after Cheltenham and do a few more regular things. All right, that is me. Thank you for watching. If you made it 35 minutes, I will see you on the next evening for the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.